Can I get a show of hands? I'm trying to gauge who's in the room, and I know most of you are still streaming in. How many of you are here from TransTech startups? Okay, so I mean, a lot of you upstairs. How many of you are representing a corporation or an institution? A few more, and more than last year, which is good. How many of you are the in-between, the connectors between startups and corporations? Good, good, good. And how many are just here because you're curious? Probably everyone. So, Center for the Age. For those of you who don't know, we are a think tank, a research institute, part of Deloitte, and our whole shtick is about transformation, large-scale transformation. And we work with big companies usually to help them transform. But at some point, we were like, well, you can't transform a big company unless you're transforming the people. It starts with the people. So about 2 years ago, we wrote a paper called Unlocking Human Potential. And in that, we focused on the individual, about you and us. We actually wrote it for ourselves because we're moving to a world that is so confusing and so challenging. How can you be resilient in this world? And in that, we gave a framework for inner work. And we featured TransTech as part of that. As well. We had a call out on TransTech. And that was this journey that we started with Nichol and TransTech. For the last 2 years, we've been supporting this conference. We helped them launch in Europe, and hopefully we'll help them launch in Asia as well. And we've also been working with a bunch of the startups in this room and upstairs in piloting it for ourselves and for our clients. And so what we want to show you here is something really exciting. Like Nichol said, we've been working on this for the last 6 months. It's one of 2 or 3 things we're coming up in the next few months that hopefully will elevate this to another whole level. Like all of you, we are an evangelist for this. We're trying to be the connector to say, how can we get more people, more companies to see this in your workspace? So Maggie's going to walk us through one whole team.
Right. So thanks, Duleesha. As Nichol and Duleesha said, this is something we're super excited about, and Nichol and her team are going to be launching it in the next week or so online and in social media. But basically what we've done is we worked with Nichol to develop essentially a series of vignettes that really help to highlight the potential of the various transformative technologies and solutions to address some of the bigger concerns that corporations have today. And so what we've done is we've created a series of vignettes. And we'll walk through one of them today just so you can see what they're all about. You know, in our work at the center, we typically are looking at what organizations and institutions need to be in the future. And it's really about 3 things. To close the gap, leading institutions will need to redefine work. And that's really changing the nature of work itself as we start automating away routine tasks. It's how do we define work such that it really draws on the human capabilities, the stuff that makes us human, and allows us to tap into more of our value-creating potential. The second piece of it is the work environment, and that's physical environment, virtual environment, but also management practices that allow us to learn from each other, to learn faster, and to collaborate better, to really amplify our impact, our learning, our passion, and to amplify opportunity for everyone. And then the third piece of this is about redesigning the workforce so that each of us can have more of an opportunity to realize our full potential. So that's kind of the framing that the rest of what you're going to see is around. And so these vignettes, which I'm going to show you right now, go through, I think we created maybe 6 or 8 of them that are really anchored around key topics that are on the minds of corporations. So this first one is about retooling today's workforce for tomorrow with tech that accelerates learning through enhanced feedback. And this whole idea of learning, reskilling, and the skills gap is a huge concern for companies. You can see some of the stats there from our surveys of executives, that 86% of C-suite executives say improving learning for the organization is a priority. However, only 1 in 10 HR leaders say their organization is actually a good learning organization. So you can see there's a bit of a gap there. And you know, there are so many numbers out there depending on the survey, but there's no doubt that there's a significant need for reskilling of the workforce. And so what you'll see is we have a slide like this, and then over on the left side, you'll see we kind of break it down into, here are the different types of technologies, some of the different families. So if we think about what we're going to ask of the workforce. They're going to have to be constantly learning, which means being in a state of constant readiness to learn. They're going to have to be learning from each other, which means working together, which means being able to trust and being open to new ideas and new perspectives. And they're also going to have to be tapping into these human capabilities, like their imagination, their creativity, their empathy. All of these things require a lot of our workforce, and most workforces aren't ready for that today. And so we can't ask that of our workforce if they aren't at a minimum in a place of emotional, physical, mental stability, social stability. And then, so if you look at that, you see things like emotional tech over here. So what can we do to help people have better self-awareness, better self-regulation of their emotions? And so that's kind of baseline, like HRV training, behavior training. But then when we talk about the degree to which people are going to need to learn new skills, adapt their skills, start letting go of what's no longer relevant, then we also say we need things to enhance learning as well. So we have cognition enhancement and other types of learning technologies. And then if you look down at the bottom, you see there's also coaching technologies. Because if we're all supposed to be learning faster, adapting faster, we need help with that. So what are the various ways we bring in both live and virtual coaching into people's lives at all levels of the organization, not just executives, not just CEOs, but all up and down. So this is an example of one of the vignettes. Each vignette then has a second page, which goes into, it features, in this case we're featuring Trip, but features one of the transformative technologies companies, in some cases a couple of them, that already have a product that is somewhat enterprise ready. So these were picked merely to show that this is something real, so that our corporate partners understand this isn't just some theory, this isn't something abstract. These solutions are already starting to be out there as something that they can start testing out and trying with their workforce. Because just like with us as individuals, different solutions are going to work better for different companies and different parts of the company. And then again, you can see on the far side, we just build out a little bit more of some of the various types of measures and technologies that could potentially be brought to bear on some of these problems.
Yeah. So like Maggie said, there's like, I think 6 to 8 of these different vignettes that we built. So this one part will be launching next week, and you'll all get a copy of this. This is just a preview of that. But also later, I think early next year, we're writing a paper about this around broadly the same topic called Technologies That Touch. So we're hoping we'll get some Snickers on that. But all of this, so we have a big question for all of you. What more can we do? We're trying to bridge the gap between institutions and these technologies. If you go upstairs, and I hope you try a lot of the technologies that are upstairs, they're incredible. But not all of them are ready to be brought into a workspace. It's a very different environment. We have to work within the context of how work happens and who's ready for it. And also the requirements might be very different. Everyone here, we are like the evangelists. We are like the early testers, so we are okay if something goes wrong. But when you take it to a generic population, they expect things to work as they would for any other consumer tech, right? So it's got to be the gradation. But we are the ones who can be in between. So I have 2 questions for you. Well, 3. What do you think would slow down the adoption of any of these technologies? Like what might get in the way? Stress. Trust, yeah.
Trust, yeah.
Adverse effects, okay, yeah. Executives, yes. Huh?
Budgets.
Budgets, yes.
Trust and trust.
Inefficiency? Yeah. Inertia, yeah. Lack of culture, okay. So, I mean, we want to build a community of evangelists who can help test these ideas together and learn from each other. So in the next panel, you'll hear from a few of those evangelists, including Ursula, who we've been working for quite a few years on. She's testing stuff, we are testing stuff, we are connecting with each other. So any of you who are in the corporate realm, if you're taking this out and testing it, let's find a way to communicate on what might slow it down and also how we might speed it up. If you figure out a way to get it into your institution or to other places, come talk to that community so we can help elevate it for everyone else. And in that same thing, the last question is, what more can we do? So I'm Duleesha. Maggie Ladena's here from our European office. We've got a few other folks from the Center for the Edge around. If you find interest, just come talk to us. and email us and tell us what more we could do. Yeah?
Yeah, that's great. I think our goal is just to make sure that the corporate world where we live, that they can start understanding that what's happening in this room is not just relevant, but actually vital to the future for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you.